You are one of the most successful high intensity training solo business operators that I know, if not the most.
I believe one time you said that I was printing money and real. No,
Did I say
when,
that?
I believe you might have said it somewhere. And when you work very, very hard, you don't feel like if you're printing anything, you're earning. This is a scientific based industry. There's something called exercise science. There's a reason I'm a purist, and I'm going to label some of the purists. We don't use any free weights at all. You'll never see me with a dumbbell. I didn't drive here. I didn't come here on horseback. I came in a wonderful machine called a McLaren 720S. So anybody ever seen with a free weight, I haven't touched one since 1992. I don't understand what's going on. I don't see anybody driving down the street on horses.
Lawrence Neal here, and welcome back to High Intensity Business, your one-stop shop for growing your strength training business and fueling your passion for high intensity training. Today, we are joined by Dagoberto Vila, highly respected figure in the world of HIIT and SuperSlow strength training. Bert won the Mr. South Florida overall title in bodybuilding back in '92, and he brings a unique perspective as a super slow purist. He feels blessed to have discovered Mike Mensa in the early '90s and was honored to meet Ken Hutchins in December 2001, where he experienced a super slow workout firsthand. Bert is a super slow level 1 certified instructor and MEDEX medical lumbar and cervical certified fitness coach. It's quite a mouthful. He's the owner and operator of Fit for Life Strength, where he continues to help clients achieve their fitness goals through the principles of strength training. Bert, great to have you back on the podcast. Thank you for making the time.
Thank you so much, Lawrence. My pleasure to be here with you, sir.
So today we're going to be talking about mostly probably super slow in the context of, is super slow good for business? You heard some things on the show you didn't necessarily 100% agree with. And before we get into that line of questioning, you've had a great year, right? Would you argue maybe the best year for you yet?
It's looking like it's headed in that direction. The last four, this being the fifth, we've had linear growth, and this year is looking that way. Yes, sir.
Great. So I'm always really appreciative of how transparent you are, and you are one of the most successful high intensity training solo business operators that I know, if not the most. Would you mind just really revealing more in terms of like what you've done revenue or session wise this year so far?
Here we are, toward the end of the fifth month of the year. We're currently at about $546,000 in revenue. We still have maybe a couple more investments coming in for the end of the week. So we are hoping to be maybe mid 150 something. I don't know if we can reach 160 in the first 5 calendar months. So I will technically call it 6 months because we end up in June the 1st, but it's really 5 months. So we continue to do quite well.
Great. Well, it's amazing. So about 30,000 a month, give or take, based on those numbers. And just to give people more context, how many sessions, price per session, just to remind people?
Okay. Well, one thing I hear that a lot, free introductory or free initial consultation. Ours currently is $300, our initial consultation. So $300 paid up front. If the client makes the investment at the end of the initial consultation, that has credited to his account. So it's like his first session. But we don't have anything for free because we're delivering tremendous value. I want to apologize to everyone, but when you do something for free, it's because it has no value. It's worthless. A top concierge doctor, a top attorney will not give you any information or any consultation for free. He demands the best, the highest, and he gets it. So it's a law of supply and demand. Our current session package is maybe about $150 per session, 8 sessions, $1,200. If you buy one session at a time, it's $175, and it goes like that. So somewhere around $150. If you buy 16 sessions, I think we're currently at $2,100, $150 a session. So,
yes. Amazing. And how many sessions are you doing a week, like on average?
At the height, maybe like 20, 23 a day, 4.5 days a week. On Wednesday, we start at 12 noon, might do 10 sessions. Saturdays, we might do 15, 10 sessions. For the first time, last 2 or 3 Saturdays, we close. And like I was explaining to you, In the near future, we're not going to look to do as many sessions, but the opposite. We're going to be tapering down to do just train a select few individual clients that are the best fit for us, that are very discerning individuals. Because I am never going to retire, but toward the end of the season, I started to feel a little bit burned out. So I don't want to burn out. I want to deliver the highest value always.
I respect that. And so what are we looking at roughly recently in terms of like weekly sessions, like 100+ sessions, or is it
Yeah,
more than
yeah,
that?
I've done 100 plus. I don't know if it ever got to 120. Now, again, just so you know, we train 2 quadriplegics. I train a gentleman who's 270 pounds on a walker. And if he lets go of that walker, he's going straight down. He has no sensation on his feet. A 91, and so we don't train. And I'm going to make us team me here, please. This is directly something that you say, and you'll see how I believe one time you said that I was printing money. And real,
Did I say that?
I believe you might have said this somewhere. And when you work very, very hard, you don't feel like if you're printing anything, you're hard.
Oh yeah, I don't take away from that. Yeah.
I work extremely hard. I care for my clients, not only their physical well-being, but their emotional. Also, something that happens in the USA, maybe not much in Ireland. You got clients coming in on a ton of prescription drugs, overdosed. Yeah. Oh yeah. And then, you have to go over a lot of the drugs, contraindicate the training. They cause muscle pain, extensive use of neurological destroying drugs like statins that are related with mitochondria. So we have a lot of challenges to face. And I get into all of that with my clients. I show in research studies that engaging polypharmacy exacerbates congestive heart failure. I have a research article to show that. So we're multifaceted. We are earning everything. We're not printing anything. So I'm compensated well, but I work very hard.
Yeah, no, I completely respect that. And it's always been really clear to me, but that you do care so much about your clients. You have this sort of rare combination where you do love money, if that's fair for me to say. You
without a doubt.
You have a beautiful, fancy car. So you have that side to you, but you also are so passionate about helping the people that you serve. You're not one-sided. Because you might find people at the other way where they're so obsessed with, I've got to be caring and care so much about the customer, they forget they have to actually build a business if they are able to sustain a high level of service over the long term, right? So you've got kind of both, which is cool.
I have them both in one, and what I'm trying to do is build relationship with my client. 99% or 98% of my clients are close friends. And I was mentioning to you, there are some clients that we just don't want. They're not a good fit. And if they have a few sessions left, I'll send you a check. It's not worth it to me. Yes, I'm highly motivated. I like the finer things in life, but that's a reward for productive work, not a goal or the end in itself.
Yeah. And let's talk more about that. So, well, actually, I had one question before we get into, talking about certain clients you might not want to work with or need, and being more discerning about that. How do you feel about, you have a very older client demographic. Your average age is like 80, isn't it?
It's mid 80s, probably like
Mid-80s.
80, 85, something like that. Yeah. What was the question?
How do you feel about having I hear this fear among our colleagues, having a really aging clientele, obviously in 20 years when you're still a spring chicken,
Right.
some of those people might not be around anymore. So how do you think about that? And
Okay. You said the word fear, right?
yeah, I guess fear. Yeah. Yeah.
What are you talking about? Fear of training older
Fear,
clients?
no. Fear of not having clients because many of them would have passed away.
We get new ones and new ones and new ones. Well, the biggest challenge that I get with older clients, as they near 90, they start to become senile. I'm almost to a point where I won't take a client over the age of 90, not because of their physical weight, but their senility. They just make mirrors. Yeah, and it's just not worth it for them.
Like forgetful, that kind of thing. Do you mean like forgetful? Yeah, go ahead.
Beyond that, it's not
Okay.
Alzheimer's and dementia. I give them information and they try to contradict the information. They go, wait a second. They just make errors in their decision making. I give them recommendations, information, and they go the other direction. So it's just not going to work.
How do you discern between them making errors and just not agreeing with you, Bert?
Well, it's going to be hard for a 91-year-old woman to know more about health and fitness than I do. It's very simple. It's called reality and the realm of the truth. Some people are walking around in this industry. This is a scientific-based industry. There's something called exercise science. There's a reason I'm a purist, and I'm going to label some of the purists. We don't use any free weights at all. You'll never see me with a dumbbell. I didn't drive here. I didn't come here on horseback. I came in a wonderful machine called a McLaren 720S. So anybody ever seen with a free weight, I haven't touched one since 1992. I don't understand what's going on. I don't see anybody driving down the street on horses.
Just fun.
Guys lifting weights.
But dumbbells are kind of fun to use, no?
I exercise to stimulate muscular gain and hypertrophy. This is not fun. This is hard labor.
Okay, let's not labor this too much, but this is interesting. Like, this is like philosophy, right? Like, you're so objectivist. The way you come across is so utilitarian. Like, you will not do, like, it's like I ask you, well, why buy and drive a McLaren? You could achieve the same out.
No, it can't do 0 to 60 in 2.8. No, it can't. No, it can't. And it's not a supercar. No, it can't. There's only one McLaren. That's why we're leading the constructors and Formula One championship. It's not Kia that's leading it. It's McLaren. I demand.
I'm just saying that, like, a much lower cost vehicle that probably is much less expensive to maintain and more enduring would achieve the same goal.
My car doesn't break down at all. It will put 5,000 miles in 4.5 months. Nothing's wrong with it. When you drive,
you're arguing that a McLaren is the ultimate tool for the job for you. That it's not just
for me. We're all individuals. We have different premises in our subconscious. I'm highly motivated to achieve goals and values. Guys who are less productive may want or can only afford a Kia. I am not being critical of them. This is a semi-free country. They can do whatever they want.
Understood. All right. So
another thing, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Steady state aerobic activity has no benefits at all. None.
Okay. I'm not sure I agree with that, but okay.
You can say the sky is also green. Just because you disagree with me doesn't mean you're right. In this case, you cannot.
That's fine.
Aerobic activity puts a stress on the heart. Let me ask you, Warren, do you know what the definition of the cardiovascular drift is?
No, enlighten me. But let's not spend too much time here.
Okay. You can't make informed opinions on aerobics if you don't know what the cardiovascular drift is.
Okay.
If you come to a debate, you got to be well informed.
I didn't debate you. I just said
you said that you differ, and you could differ. You could differ that.
So you think I should have said I don't have any opinion because I don't know,
or I'm not certain of it, or you might. I believe that there are some benefits to aerobics. You could say something like that.
Okay.
Jim Fix, who made it to the anatomy physiology books, lost the opinion. Sudden death, heart attack from running.
Right. Yeah, I know. It's nuanced. Yeah. Like, obviously, if you do a lot of it, it's not good for you. I get it. Right. And I don't do much of it. I play basketball, actually, but
that's a sport, but I want you to enjoy your life. Play basketball, play tennis, whatever you want.
There's more to it.
Exercise. That's all.
Okay. I won't in your company.
Yes.
Let's park that because that's one for another day. But no, I respect your opinion. So interesting. You're looking over time. It's actually because I remember our initial conversation. You were like, Lawrence, I've got serious goals. I want to scale this business. So you were thinking like 500,000. You were thinking of growing, potentially hiring. Sounds like you've changed your mind. It now sounds like you're looking to have less clients, but increase pricing over time.
Yeah. The income is going to be the same. I still have 1 million, but instead of like 60 clients or 70, 20 or 30 of. This is going to take some time. It's going to take a few years. It's not going to happen over time. But yeah, you don't want to get burned out.
How much would you have to charge if you only had 20 or 30 clients to make that kind of money?
I don't know.
Math?
200, 250 a session. How much do they charge for disease care in this country?
Oh, I don't doubt the value.
For drugs.
Yeah.
What do they get? The third leading cause of death in America is disease care. The average American.
Remember you sharing that with me. Yeah.
Yeah. People. I tell people.
That's
super slow strength training is not the third leading cause of death in America. I tell them.
Well, this cool to hear. No, I support it. I think I don't know anyone who's selling personal training. I mean, of course there are like celebrity trainers, right? That charge huge sums of money for training and that kind of thing
Right.
that aren't in the hit space. Um, so let's move on to, so what are you thinking? Is the logic there? I'm going to scale down the number of clients just for sustainability for a longer period of time.
Yeah, like, I know I know eventually, I don't know how long it takes. My initial consultation will be $500. Initial consultation. Whether it'll take a year or two to get to that. And the fitness coaching might get to 200 or 250 a session. There are very affluent people. My typical client has enough money that he will outlive his money. What he doesn't know is how long will he live.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I might even change the name of my company to concierge once a week work. I'll tell the client I can no longer train you twice a week because there's only one of me. So I can only train you once a week. That makes the commodity even more scarce.
Mm. I'd be
So I
careful
want to,
about changing your brand name because it's
you know what my brand name is? My brand name is Dago. I am the brand, not the name of the company. But by calling it
right.
concierge exercise, very exclusive, and
How
telling them
long?
up front,
How
once
long's
a
it
week
been
work.
Strength for Life or Fit for Life Strength? Sorry.
Fit for Life, oh, maybe like since 2012, but the corporate name is Ultimate Fitness Coaching. So that's just a name. I don't wear shirts with my logo on them or anything
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
I am brand. In this
Got it.
case, now I'm very healthy. I'm very fit. I think the last time I missed a day of work was 2020. I had the symptom of coronavirus. So I took a week off because I felt bad. I didn't want to give it to any of my clients and stuff like that.
Sure.
And I think it was the Delta variant. And I was next to a girl getting tested that had been in a home fellowship with some people I've died with. Other than that, I'm very strong, fit, and healthy. Should be around for a long time.
I can't remember if we spoke about this. How did you manage during COVID? Did you have to? Oh no, you're in Florida, aren't you? Did you have to shut
Well,
down?
no, they shut the hair salon next to me down. What I would do, the front door would be locked, the lights would be off, and the clients were parked on the back. They come in the back door. Uh, if some police officer, I'm from Cuba, communist country. I don't know what I would have done if some police officer tried to come and close me down. I go, sir, your job is to serve and protect me. You are not involved in free market capitalism. It could have been bad. It could have been bad.
Well,
There are some
thankfully that never
pages that
happened.
have, there are some, well, I don't know that, but I don't believe that the police officer has any involvement in the free market economy.
So, did you see a drop off though from people that
Oh,
were
there was
scared?
a
Yeah,
huge drop.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, like 30, 40%. The clients were afraid. They wanted everything watched. They wanted me to stay away. It was that is the worst.
Yeah.
I refer to Anthony Fauci as the Che Guevara of the United States.
Well,
Sure.
isn't it great? But that when it all happened, you still trained people virtually from home with dumbbells, right? It was great that you were able to do
Oh, no, everybody asked me that. And I go,
that.
we do a virtual. I go, sir, can you do a virtual surgery? No, you can't have a surgery.
Yeah.
You can't have a surgery at your house. I can't give
Yeah.
you. I can't give you virtual sessions.
So, okay, let's move on to this idea of being discerning about the clients you want to work with. How do we teach us, Bert? Like, how do you think about that? How do we as business owners get better at attracting people we want? And, how do we do that?
Well, I think just having your name in the field, referrals. I can tell you more importantly what's a bad client and a good one. When a client makes it too difficult, constant cancellation, rescheduling, you go by feel and you charge them a rescheduling fee. You can tell it's just not a good fit. When you're not enjoying your work, that client is not for you. And I'm running into a senile 91-year-old woman, same thing. People sometimes get obsessed with pain. And instead of lacking function, all they're doing is, I'm in this pain, and I'm in that pain. So just by having a good referral program, having a good name in the community, promoting, what I do is I give people information who want to be informed. Is it okay if I bring up the term of the word sell or selling?
Go
Is that
for it.
okay? Can we bring that up?
Yep.
I seen a couple of guys online talking about that. And just to mention, I am not a salesman. I'm not closing anything. I don't have anything to sell. I offer clients an opportunity to make an investment in their health and fitness goals. I have nothing for sale. I don't, if somebody asks me, what is the cost amount? I go, sir, I don't really know how much it costs. I know how I have an approximate how much the investment will run you per month, but I don't have
Can I
any
stop
cost.
you? When you say that, do they laugh?
Sometimes let me go when the first thing when they ask me about the cost, I tell, sir, I hate to inform you this, but you just disqualified yourself. And when I tell them that, they get hostile, rebellious, like, no, I can
I
afford it.
bet
I
they
can
do.
budget it. Yeah, I tell them, you just disqualified yourself. So if your main concern is the investment amount, not the end goal, not getting you wealth, not getting you strong, not getting you healthy, not getting you fit, this is not for you. You can't train at a you got to train at a lesser facility.
Do you think that you're at a level, Bert, where you have so much authority, experience, obviously a position of financial strength, that you are able to do that? Do you think a lot of new people getting into this space can do that
They
or
have to,
should?
okay, they should, but they have to have a purist mentality, a purist knowledge. They have to know that what they do is 100% solid. We're not going to do any aerobics and tell the people why. We're not going to use any free weights, and we're going to tell the people why. We're going to do 3 to 5 machines, not 6 or 7. We're going to do 3 reps, possibly 4. You should have to have a very strong, solid foundation. If you don't have that solid intellectual, epistemological foundation, you don't have a foundation to stand on. So that's what I use, the knowledge, the expertise. There's literally no one that I would train. People text me, oh, my back hurts. I'm not coming in. I go, ma'am, did you injure your back here? No. I go, I'm in here and train. You should stay away from your house
I
because
like
that's
that.
where it hurts you, not here.
Yeah.
I go, exercise does not produce property, doesn't hurt you. It benefits you.
I think almost all of us can agree on that. Sorry, I interrupted you. You were talking about your view on the word sales and how you never feel like you're selling. You're
Yeah,
talking about this is an investment, not a cost. The way you frame it,
yeah,
yeah,
I look to build relationships with my client. Our interaction is relational, not transactional. If the word gets out of the community that you're a salesman, that you're always, people don't want to be sold to.
Yep.
People want value. And the relationship should be 50-50. It should be valuable for me. It should be valuable for me. Both should derive value. That's why I never want to use the word. I'm not selling anything. I offer people information. I offer them an opportunity. Do they take advantage of it or not? So I would use a term, advantage, investment versus closing or selling transaction. Oh, you're always selling? No, you can say, I'm always offering information to the people that want it. Some people think they're omnipotent, they know everything. So those you can't offer them any information. But yeah, the new fitness coach has to get very well informed, has to have a solid epistemological base, has to know what they're talking about, have confidence in their ability, stick to a solid protocol. I heard a gentleman say, oh, I'm not selling Ken Hutchins. I'm not selling anything but super slow is the safest, most effective way to train. And Ken Hutchins was the gentleman that invented it. And yes, I
yeah.
use Ken Hutchins protocol. Ken Hutchins is not my competitor. He's the guy that I look up to the most. So I can sell, yes, we provide the safest, most effective, purest super slow. Some guys didn't like super slow. It's very intellectual. It's not an easy protocol to learn. When they say, oh, I couldn't get it or I couldn't sell it because you couldn't wrap your mind around. I remember the first time I went to get certified, I flunked the level 1 task. I called Ken Hutchins to the office and go, sir, I am not ready for this. I thought this was like a regular trainer thing. No, it's not. Sir, do you mind if I come back? And he goes, come back. And I studied my ass off and I came back. I am far from perfect, but I'm learning and every day I'm trying to acquire more information. Yeah, it's a very intellectual protocol. It's a very hard protocol. You got to learn it. You have to study it. You have to know it. And every day I'm even learning more about it.
If someone listening to this is like, I want to build a business like Bert and I want to make it about super slow, I don't know Ken's health status right now. I don't think there's any certification programs available, but obviously there are plenty of resources, books. Can you give us your top 3 resources for someone who wants to educate themselves in super slow so they want to build a business around that? Yeah.
Okay, now again, exercise physiology. I'm not going to talk business. I'm just pure exercise. Get a
Got it.
super slow
Yeah.
technical manual, or it's called
Okay.
The Renaissance of Exercise. get Body by Science. Okay? By Doug McGuff. Excellent book. That's more of a layman. The SuperSlow is very technical with a renaissance of exercise. And then if you want, get a book by Richard Leiber on skeletal muscle structure, function, and plasticity. Those 3 books by those 3 individuals should be more, you're pretty well covered. Read, study, continue to read, educate yourself, and have a strong philosophical base so you can separate truth from falsehood, because Arthur Jones said it, 95% everything published on print, now it's on social media, is false and misleading. So you got to be able to discern truth from falsehood. Like I was going to say, intuitively, people know that when they move slowly against resistance, it's more effective. And the resistance should be meaningfully loaded. You should generate tension within the first few seconds of the contraction. And you need an external source of resistance.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I...
I completely understand. So just to summarize, SuperSlow Technical Manual, Body by Science, and what was the other one? Skeletal muscle and plasticity?
There it is.
Skeletal muscle structure, function, and plasticity, which is Dr. Richard Leiber, is it?
Yeah. Now, this is not going to be an easy read. If I'm not wrong, this is like a medical textbook. But take your time. You're not in a hurry. You have to read it.
Yeah. No, there's some great foundations for sure. It's interesting. I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, we were all at the Strength Forum in Orlando in November last year, right? Yeah. I know for a fact that you were surrounded by individuals who are not completely focused on SuperSlow as a protocol in their business. They have a little bit of SuperSlow, but they do a bit of Arthur Jones 2.4 and other hit-based protocols. How do you feel about that? Honestly, I don't know anyone but you who is this, I don't want to use the word dogmatic because it's not the right word, dedicated to SuperSlow principles. Yeah.
I feel great. I'm around friends. I'm around peers. It's not all about the intellectual technical. You have to have relationship. Now, I wouldn't be at a P90X forum. I wouldn't be at a whatever these crazy people, these guys.
They're close enough.
Yeah, at the conceptual level, we have more in common than we have apart from one another. We have more similarities than we have differences. I love the experience and I'm going back, and I recommend everybody who can. And also look at your high intensity business. It's a tremendous resource for growing your business. Look, I just took one nugget from listening to Pete Sir, and I started putting 3 sessions per hour. Just that little nugget that he gave me. I was apprehensive. So now I do 3 sessions per workout whenever I can. So just little things like that bring tremendous value from the high intensity business part. Sorry, I shot that in there, but I felt it was
important. Obviously you promoting high intensity business is better than me doing it, but so thank you very much. Yeah. And just to tag onto that, obviously Bert is part of high intensity business along with 100+ other strength training business professionals, some big names. So if you're looking to start or need help growing your strength training business, we give you community to support you, weekly calls to help you get unstuck, and a full step-by-step course to show you exactly what to do to build a profitable business. And you can just go to school.com/HIB. So school with a K, .com/HIB. And there'll also be a link below wherever you're watching this as well.
Also, just to let you know, right now it's the summer or the beginning. I have a lot more time. If you want, you can give my text phone number. And Pastor, remember I said I was going to charge people. Right now I have a lot of free time. If I have free time, I'm willing to help. So you get a little bonus for the next so many months.
Okay. Only if you join HIB though, right?
Yes, of course. I'm a member of the community.
No, I'm messing, but they can DM you, and if you're available, obviously it's up to you. But
now I have a lot more time.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's $500 a call, right?
No, not for the next 4 months. We have a lot of free time. Yes, sir.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much. You're very generous. Excellent. Okay. So again, just going back to this, I love this idea about qualifying in the clients you want. What other ways do you go about qualifying the right people in that you haven't already mentioned?
I mean, it's funny. I remember there was only like one guy who did not make the investment. And I should have seen, like I was driving a Toyota Corolla. Again, I'm right, or a Camry. you have to ask the right questions. You could say, hey, just to let you know, this is going to take a certain investment amount. This is not for everybody. And, you can throw out there, it's going to cost, $1,000 a month or $1,200 a month or whatever. If you train, twice a week. So you ask it, is that something that you could budget? So if you have an uncertainty about the financial resources, just ask some questions. Ask, is this something within your budget? So you could put something like that.
Yeah, cool. What if someone came at you and said, "Oh, I'd probably do it for a couple of months"? What would you say to that?
You can do it. You can do whatever you want. You
Got it.
can do it now. It's gonna take a greater investment amount because the longer you commit with us, you get a better value. But you can train. You can do 8 sessions. You can do 16. It's going to be a greater investment amount per appointment for you than otherwise. But yes, we'll take it.
So I have a friend who's a very successful entrepreneur who drives a very basic car because he's extremely frugal about certain things, but he will spend a lot of money on health. So do you ever worry that you're going to make that assumption and that person's actually going to be, very, very financially capable? They just don't spend money on cars.
It depends how motivated they are. They'll tell you. You just ask them, is this within your budget? And some people might not be high income earners, but they know they have a concern and they're willing to make the investment. So you just ask them, is this something within your budget? By asking that question, you can know it's going to be $1,000, $1,200 a month. Can you budget that? Maybe the individual can only afford to train once a week. I don't even like to use the word afford. You can train them once a week, and maybe the 8 appointment instead of lasting 1 month will last them 2 months. So we can make it work for them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay. So it's not the end of the world if they don't have a nice car. Okay.
It's just something you better be on the lookout for. That gentleman, I did not ask that question. This was like 2 years ago. That's literally the only guy who didn't commit. I didn't ask him that question. So I'm learning from them. My conversion rate is like 90. There was one woman, the wife of a gentleman, that she only did like 2 machines, even a rotary neck. But anything you do to her, she just complained about pain, soreness. These people obsessing with pain, you got to be very careful. They might not be the best fit for it. And I have a guy right now that has 13 failed surgeries, 5 lumbar fusions.
Jeez.
And this gentleman is very, very challenging to work with. And every time he comes in, I go, sir, you're psychopathic. The things that you're telling me are just not true. It's just not true. And, I do the best in it. The guy's getting stronger.
You call him psychopathic and he continues to train with you.
He knows that I love him so much. But I told him, sir, you're making statements that are devoid of reality. Yeah. After, let's say you had 2 back surgeries, right? This is by Bert, West Coast MedX certification program out of the University of California, San Diego, #1 physiology school. If you get the 3rd surgery, now you have what's called failed back syndrome, and it's reimbursable through insurance. So if you were not intelligent enough to have 2 back surgeries, never get the 3rd, it's always worse. I would never get any.
Wow.
When you do a fusion surgery, you're altering the natural mechanics, the architecture of the spine. The spine is supposed to flex, rotate, and expand. When you do I call it bad medicine. Shy of emergency trauma medicine, like what Dr. Gov does, most everything else is just bad medicine. I call it the industrial pharmaceutical medical complex. And I say this to all my clients. I ask for apologies in case they're in the medical field, but they're in the business of inventing, diagnosing, treating, and managing chronic illness. They don't get anyone well. I'm not wrong. The pharmaceutical company Pfizer might be 150 years old, 180. They have never developed one cure for any condition. None. Now they deliver tremendous shareholder value, but they've never cured one disease, never offered a cure.
Right. Yeah, I think much of what you're saying is probably true. And I think many of us would agree, as Doug would say, stay out of the belly of the beast, right?
Yeah.
Medical system.
We refer to the term homeostasis. You never are sick because of the deficiency of a pharmaceutical drug, because it doesn't occur naturally in your body. So you ingest it, it's going to disrupt the body's natural equilibrium, which is homeostasis. It's going to produce a symptom side effect.
Yeah. Okay. So going back, one of the original plans for this podcast is you heard some comments about super slow, people maybe saying that super slow is not good for business. What did you have any kind of like, did you want to address that? I know you've spoken about it a little bit already, but did you want to speak more on like how you feel about that? And
Okay, it's like,
go ahead.
again, I'll use the two best phrases, safe and effective. How could you say that safe and effective is not good for business? It's the best. You just have to demonstrate the value. First, you acquire the knowledge. You understand the concept. And I'm not even talking about regular super slow, because there's a lot of super slow guys out there doing, 5, 6, 7, 8 reps. I don't think that's ideal. I believe in 3 reps, meaningful load, at the most 4. But when you have a conceptual understanding and you can show all the science that it reverses osteoporosis, you mentioned Wolff's Law of Bone. It's based out of the 1982 Nautilus-sponsored osteoporosis research project. It's just the most effective way to train. Now, the instructor has to have the conceptual understanding, the intellectual information to gather, learn how to implement and apply the protocol. If he can do it, now tell the client, this is not going to be easy. I think this is a quote from maybe one of the guys in New York. Super slow never gets easier. You just get stronger. It actually gets harder, but you get stronger. It's not an easy, I'm not going to use the word. It's not an easy product to promote or display the value, but it is the most. You just have to explain the people out. Mechanical tension. You're not there to make weights go up and down. You're there to cause this physiological stimulus at the muscular cellular level. Rest, recover, let the body carry on its due course. And let them know what the emotional aspect of it is, how it's going to feel, and then how it's going to make them feel, how the outcome will be for them, how much better, how would it affect their self-esteem, their psyche, how they feel about themselves, how their functional ability is improved in it. It's just, it builds muscle. Aerobic activity is the antithesis. It breaks down muscle, puts a stress on your heart. Cardiovascular drift could be deadly, could lead to an ischemic situation. Just do your strength. If you want, play all the sports. I want people to enjoy their life. Anything like doing aerobic, by all means.
Do you do any sports yourself?
Any what?
Sports?
No, I would not do even one recreational activity. I cannot afford to get injured. I work physically. No, I don't even take one step forward. No, at the age of 6, no recreational. Now, I did a knee extension the other day. I'm trying to optimize max. So I did a 1 rep max with 340 pounds, Medix knee extension, 38 seconds time under load. When you train that hard, that intensely, you don't need anything else.
I understand. Yeah. Oh, trust me, I know. Yes.
I tore a bicep jumping for a football like 3 years ago. I go, that's it. I'm not going to ride. I'm not going to. I can't tear anything.
I know what you mean. It for me as well. Like I started playing basketball again recently, and I'm always thinking, I know my risk for, Achilles rupture or tearing a calf is so much higher. And I know that how debilitating that's going to be I have 2 young kids. So I won't be able to drive them to daycare and things like that. So
that would be devastating if it happened to you. No.
It would be. So I just take jump shots. I just take no big, layups.
Nothing wrong with it. Yeah, I do absolutely nothing. When I see somebody jogging by the side of the road, oh my God, sir, do you need a ride on? You want me to take you home?
So quick detour then. Obviously you love your McLaren. What are your pastimes and hobbies, Bert? Like, what do you do when you're not training people?
I read skeletal muscle. I was reading John Locke, the gentleman who pointed out the law of cause and effect. I study philosophy. I study epistemology. I study metaphysics. I study Nathaniel Branden, ethics, objectivism, the nature of anxiety, self-esteem. I don't like, the only fiction novels I like is probably Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead.
Of course, yeah.
I like to
both written by an objectivist. Yes.
I like to stimulate the intellect. When I'm not working, I'm either reading or I'm resting, recovering, sleeping.
Okay, so reading is your main thing outside of this.
Yeah, reading, relaxation. Yeah. I do enjoy fine dining. I enjoy going to nice restaurants, nice hotels.
What did you think of the steak at Kristen's Steakhouse? That was something, right?
Yeah, that was good. Very good. Now I'll tell you something. In Palm Beach, there's a place called the Flagler Steakhouse you can't beat it. But no, that was very, very good.
I see.
I love
I
the
follow Smith.
amino acid profile of high quality filet mignon or ribeyes. Very
Right,
much so.
yeah. Yes, yes. It was an unbelievable food. Um, One of the things I noticed, we don't have to mention names, but I was quite sad that I didn't get to speak to you more at the conference, if you want to call it that. Just because, there's so many people there, it's
Right.
difficult to get, have a lot of time with everyone. But I noticed at one point you were very engrossed in conversation with a group. I think it was the first night where we were having dinner in the hotel. And I think it was getting quite, there was quite a lot of debates happening about, the most effective way to strength train and all this kind of thing. Do you remember much about that? Anything you can share from that? I don't know. I don't expect to remember, but yeah,
I'll be honest with you, I have a hard time recalling that particular
fair enough.
conversation. I know out of that, I spoke a lot to Fred on. You know who Fred is?
Yeah,
Um,
so Fred's in HIV. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, through Slow Burn, and we
Yep.
exchanged text numbers, and we talked about guideline for a leg workout, and he and I were communicating back and forth, sending out a protocol and stuff like that.
Yes.
I think that was the closest interaction that I got with it. I can't remember the particular situation that you were talking about,
Look,
but if anything,
yeah.
we're going to do it again this year. We can by all means focus on it.
I think I was just, slightly. I had a small amount of regret because I wanted to be on that table with you guys. So I think it's you, Fred, Skylar, and some others, and you just looked in really impassioned.
Okay,
You remember
now I remember. Now I remember. Okay, yes. Now I
And
remember.
Skylar's super easy with this type of thing. So yeah, feel free to share if
Yes.
you have any memories from.
Yes,
Yeah.
now, see, now I remember 100% now. Yes, you're 100%. Yes, if given the opportunity, I'll glad to sit down and engage in a rhetorical debate with anyone. Yes, now I remember.
Okay.
You're 100% fantastic time we had.
Yeah.
Now I can
Yeah.
remember.
I think I was too busy ordering limoncellos for the table at that point for our separate table. So that was what I was being distracted by. Awesome. Okay. So where are we? I'm just thinking of times. Any other questions about super slow? Let me know if anything's coming up for you that you want to share as well. Let me see here.
I want to send you a therapist's note from skeletal muscle on eccentric contractions. Just to let you know, and if you want, you can share it with the group how beneficial it is. That's one thing. I don't know if anybody took much away from that seminar, and I implemented a eccentric contraction protocol from that symposium or convention, whatever you want to call it, and I've been using it ever since.
Can you elaborate on that? Like
Well,
how you've been doing it?
Okay, I made things very simple. I wanted to put in eccentric contraction. So what I did is we'll get a 40% hyperload, right? Let's say you can't do it on a machine, but on a torso one. So I help the client.
Sorry, 40% heavier on the negative on the eccentric.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we hyperload the machine by 40%, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I help the client pull it into the fully contracted position. They're going to pull it or contract in the fully contracted position for 20 seconds. Then they're going to take another 37 seconds resisting the negative, lowering it all the way down, and then once the weight touches the bottom of a time under load of approximately 57 seconds, the set is done. So it's essentially a half a rep static hold negative lowering.
Beautiful.
And that's what I've implemented with clients.
And why 57 specifically?
What happens when we put 40% and the people can tolerate it, that was the time where they seem to fatigue. We documented that a high percent of a client were not fatiguing at a minute or at 55 seconds or 50, but they were fatiguing at 57 seconds.
So meaning after the isometric, they could not move any slower than 37. That was like as slow as possible.
That was all the strength they had. They reached momentary eccentric fatigue within 57 seconds. Yeah, that's when they fatigue.
When they finish that protocol, do you bother doing any concentric work after that or just move on?
Oh, no. Okay, so let's say we did 2 upper body and 3 lower body. That would be one of the upper body movements that we keep doing the workout. So instead of a chest, and then we might do one static negative, and the next workout we'll do it dynamically. And we saw a carryover effect it increases in strength. So we're
Cool.
documenting an increase in strength because of the eccentric, isometric negative contractions.
And I would assume you're obviously already aware of hyperloading the negative ahead of the conference. What made you decide, okay, let's implement this?
Well,
I'm sure you already go ahead.
right, but you lose touch. We haven't had a conference in a long time. If I'm not wrong, I forget the gentleman's name. It's a surgeon from the University of Florida.
Dr. Michael McMillan. Yeah.
Because of what McMillan said, why do you go to a seminar for? Imagine if you go there, you don't take anything back with you.
Of course.
So,
No, I love this, by the way. This is great to hear.
Yeah. Now, what I saw a lot of complexity because Ellington, they're talking about doing how many reps, I got to make this thing simple, easy. And because of McMillan's information, how important. Now, also Richard Leiber says the same thing. And I'm going to send this to you. I'll send you a text photo of it. How valuable the eccentric portion of the exercise is. They both share the same opinion. Yeah.
So just for those interested, if you want to attend the Strength Forum this year, I'm not sure how many spots are available, but you'll need to email Luke at Discover Strength. So that's Luke at discoverstrength.com. And if there's availability, he'll be able to share the information with you. Final question for you, Bert, before we wrap up. Are there any common mistakes you see when you see people trying to implement SuperSlow in their business, colleagues?
What I see as the biggest mistake, and again, it's just a technical aspect.
Yeah.
They're doing aerobics on the SuperSlow machines. They're going too light.
Right.
Yeah, too long. They're doing 5, 6, 7 reps. They're approaching 2 minutes time under load. Here's one thing. SuperSlow did the machines. They did the mechanical, but they didn't go into the human physiological, the sequential fatiguing of type 2X muscle fibers. There was no education on human anatomy, human physiology. They did the machines, they did the cam, they did the protocol. They do everything externally, how it feels for the person, but they didn't look at technically, physiologically, sequentially how to fatigue the type 2X, which are the ones that are inducive or conducive for hypertrophy. So that's one of the reasons why a lot of SuperSlow guys are not very muscular. They might be training too lightly.
Okay. And remind me, what's the time under load that you see in your space? Yeah, at the K4, yeah.
Okay, 1 minute, time under load, 3 repetitions. The first few seconds of the first should be very hard. That first the second repetition is very, very hard, grueling. And the third, you either reach a point of momentary muscular failure, or if you even dare to attempt the fourth, there's just nothing left. So you sequentially fatigue the slow, the intermediate, and the fast twitch muscle fibers. So 1 minute, time under load, with a very slow, smooth, gradual application of force. I wanted to stay safe. So don't get a heavy load and jab into it or lunge into it. Apply the force in a very slow, smooth, and safe manner. That is your warm-up. The first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds of the first repetition, that's your warm-up. No other supplemental warm-up or stretching is required, or any amount of work before that.
Yeah, I agree. I don't do any warm-up. Hypothetical scenario, but you have no access to your facility for, let's say, 3 months. What do you do?
Are you talking about, I can't go something in the Western Hemisphere and find a SuperSlow?
You can't go to any SuperSlow facility. All you have access to is like a traditional gym with like.
Well, no. If you have you go to a place has selectorized machines and use a SuperSlow protocol.
Okay.
I would do the same thing. You could do it at a regular. The cam might not be ideal, but you don't break from the protocol. You get on a Cybex, leg press, or not a leg. I do a SuperSlow. SuperSlow can be done on anything, just maybe not as effective, but still, it's the best way to go, not even close.
And if you couldn't even get access to any machines and all you could use was free weights or body weight.
I would never use free weights because they're very dangerous. I'm not going to use horses ever. Like, for example, I could do SuperSlow push-ups, but I end up doing like 8 of them because I was 150 pounds and I just press close to 400 pounds. So you can't do it. Yeah, that's a problem. You can't generate enough tension because there's not, but I'll do SuperSlow push-ups, SuperSlow pull-down.
You would do body weight. Okay.
Right. And do SuperSlow squats. The only problem is I'll get a lot of reps. But that's what
brutal.
Never touch a free weight.
So you can do SuperSlow push-ups
Yeah.
meaning what, like 20 seconds per excursion, let's say.
Yeah. And I'm letting
8
them like 8 of
reps.
them. That's right.
That's impressive. That's
Yeah.
impressive.
Now, also remember, I have very short arms.
I
I'm
know,
very
yes.
small.
Yeah.
I have a mechanical advantage on compound move.
Yeah. Yeah. So chin-ups as well, you're pretty good at those types of
Now,
things.
again, you got to get a chin-up bar. It's not something you can do a push-up easily. But where do you get a chin-up bar? So I have as many chin-ups, right?
Yeah.
I don't have chin-up bars. I have machines, and I use them. I never do an actual chin-up on them. I use.
Do you not have a multi-exercise, a medics? You know,
No. I have a multi-exercise ARX, but I don't even use it. I have an ARX multi-exercise.
I don't know
But
that.
everything else is individual machines, no multi.
Why don't you sell ARX if you don't use it, or the clients use it sometimes?
No, I'll sell it. One of the mechanical electric devices for doing it by yourself failed. So it can be done, but you need a coach to give you the change of direction electronically, mechanically.
Understood.
There was one piece of paper, but it works if an instructor supervises it.
Cool. All right.
And I'm selling whoever wants it for $5,000.
I'll put it in the group. Although I know someone else is trying to move one at the moment. And it's been quite difficult. Awesome. But any other final thoughts you want to share? Anything you really want to get off your chest before we just get contact details and wrap up?
I think we've covered quite a lot, but again,
yeah,
I have nothing for sale. That's my closing. I have nothing for sale.
You sound like Alex Hormozy.
I've heard of that guy. He's good, right?
Yeah. Well, his tagline for a long time there was, hello, my name is Alex Hormozy and I've got nothing to sell you. And he genuinely didn't, because he was just trying to build a content platform, build a social media brand. But obviously now he has far more things to sell, so it's a bit different. So he stopped using that line. But I think that's what kind of popularized it, or maybe someone before him, I don't know.
But yeah, the premise is the same. We're not selling anything. We're informing to those who want to be informed.
That's I like the reframe. Okay. So people want to connect with you. It's Fit for Life Strength on Facebook. Obviously they connect with you inside High Intensity Business. And do you want to give your number? It's entirely up to you.
I don't mind. They can text 786-351-8289. Text me 786-351-8289.
Okay. And just keep in mind, guys, US area code 001 if you're outside America. And again, if you're interested in joining a thriving community of strength training business owners, if you're looking to start or get help growing your business, please consider joining High Intensity Business. So that's school.com/HIB. Bert, yeah, I just really appreciate you making the time. I enjoy our conversations. It's a lot of fun. You're a good sport, because I know I can tease you a little bit, but no, I learn a lot, and I really appreciate your time, because I know it's valuable. So I appreciate it.
Thank you, my friend. Likewise. Always a pleasure.
Absolutely. And so again, this is Lawrence with High Intensity Business. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you again soon.